We can do it. First up, we have a new and presumably final trailer for Black Widow.
It does say final trailer.
There we
I
go.
think so.
I presumed
Hopefully this is the
correctly.
last one.
Mm.
Yeah. This is so can you guys give me a bit of a gauge on how you're feeling about Black Widow coming into it? Like, do you feel as though there's the same level of excitement that you usually have for a Marvel film? Like, I just don't know where I feel. Like, it's very
different.
strange.
It's different, and it feels like a different movie for them. It feels almost like a different genre for them in some regard. I'm low-key really keen for this movie, though, which normally with Marvel, I'm like high-key very keen.
Yeah.
So it is different, but I don't know. Everything I've seen of this, I've quite liked.
Number one, I love that you said low key. Number two, listen, I'm starting to worry about this one.
Oh, no.
I'm starting to feel like this is an Ant-Man and the Wasp because this one really didn't impress me. The music was great. Music across the board, across all these trailers for Black
It's been
Widow
fantastic.
has been, we've got this really cool industrial edge with these interesting
Yeah.
syncopated patterns and
I
stuff.
sincerely doubt it's indicative of the final product, but I really hope it is.
Awesome stuff. But this movie, I don't know, man. I was thinking, the first thought that came to me in this trailer, I think she was on a bridge or something. She's about to fight Taskmaster, and I thought to myself, man, this should have came out 2015 or something.
Well, and that's been something that we've been saying since 2015, is that this is a phase 1 film. And this is, I thought, when all the fans wanted it, which was, again, early phase 1 type area. Maybe early phase 2, sorry. And it feels like it belongs in that era. And not in the kind of callback way that I sort of hoped that it would, more in the sense of just it doesn't feel like it belongs in a world post Avengers and even just Spider-Man. I feel like the general movement of the MCU is going more space galactic cosmic
Fantastical.
kind of
Yeah.
I'm really excited for where they're going to take
Eternals.
Eternals and Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness or whatever it is. Even the Disney Plus series seems a little bit more wacky and kind of out there. So I don't know, this one just doesn't quite feel like it fits. Having said that, the trailers didn't disappoint me. Like, that's why I'm not sure where I feel. Like, I don't think this movie is going to be bad. I just don't think it really fits with the overall direction of the MCU. That's the only kind of, I guess, concern that I have.
I don't think Marvel's capable of making a bad movie at this point.
But
Don't jinx it.
listen, there's
It'll happen. But
every chance to me, like 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna leave the film and be like, that was a great time. But the one time is the Ant-Man and the Wasps that come through. You liked Ant-Man and the Wasp the most out of us three, would you say?
Yeah.
And you were kind of in my camp.
Yeah, I wasn't wildly impressed, and I came to it, well after it had left theaters.
Right.
It just felt like one of those movies that was put in there to fill a necessary gap, and that the story around that plot point wasn't really well thought out, or not even just well thought out, but it just didn't feel well executed. And maybe that's because that they were kind of handcuffed to this, Feige going in and be like, these are the points that you have to make in order for Avengers to make sense, or something like that. I can imagine that having something to do with the situation. But I was very lackluster on that film. It just felt very kind of necessary.
Well, that's my stomach going.
It's concerning if they can hear that through the mics.
Listen, it's coming out April 30th, I believe. We're less than 2 months away. Let's see. First MCU film of 2020.
this trailer is clearly setting up Florence Pugh as the new Black Widow. It's a lot more kind of centric on her.
Is that the sister?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she's going with that accent for this film, because they never bothered with Scarlett.
It's quite jarring in this instance where Scarlett Johansson is so American, I feel.
But
And I honestly, I love Florence Pugh. I think everything she's done has been so good. I'm honestly not super convinced by her in this either.
It didn't really bother me because it made sense. Like, Black Widow had gone over to America and kind of put that in her past, whereas seems like her sister seems as though she had lived in Russia.
The performance specifically.
The actual
though,
execution of the accent. Yeah. I get that. I'm just going to kind of reserve too much judgment because accents are real 50-50 for me, right? Sometimes they really bring me out, but other times it's kind of like,
It's a sore point for you because Australians think you sound weird and Canadians think you sound weird.
no one thinks I sound like how I should.
Irish people do. Like Connor.
I do.
You're
I get,
back in
I get
Dublin,
people
mate.
that I have known for years be like, you just kind of like casually talk about how I'm Irish. I'm like, I'm not Irish though. And they're like, what? No, it's not possible. I'm like, have you spoken to me? Like, have I ever mentioned like the home country of Ireland? Like,
you just exude it.
yeah, the name doesn't help. No, one thing I did want to talk about with this trailer was Taskmaster.
I think Taskmaster looks awesome.
He looks awesome,
Looks
but
like a Power
also
Ranger enemy.
something that I
great.
hadn't.
Yeah, that's awesome.
My
great.
understanding
It's
of
great.
Taskmaster was that he kind of analyzed situations and was able to kind of fight based on, like, I think that's kind of my understanding of.
He has photographic reflexes. So anything he sees performed, he can
Mimic.
Yeah.
So that makes sense because in this trailer, it looks as though he's mimicking all the Avengers. So he's got the shield from Captain America. He's got the bow from Hawkeye. He's got he's got
Panther
Panther's claws.
Yeah.
I think there was at least one more. The one that I wasn't quite sure about where he was mimicking was the sword. When he's falling down, he's got like a sword.
It'll be interesting to see how much exposition or time they give to that. Whether they just get like present it and happens, or they give it a whole backstory.
No, I think they're just going to run with a gimmick, right? It's
I
going to
hope
be
they
one
do.
line.
I hope they do.
It's going to be like, hey, this is a guy that, this is his thing. He can, like basically what you just did. He can mimic everything, and then there's not
But I wonder
really
if
going to
they'll
be
get
any.
into like the tech and how it from
I hope that
this-
because it's such a fun comic booky conceit.
I think it's
he
great.
can
Yeah.
just do this. I hope
This
they
is the
stick
thing
to
that he does. I
Yeah.
mean, in a world where Thor swings around a hammer, he can do that. Like,
I-
let's just.
I think he looks sick. I think this looks like a
Yeah.
really good Marvel villain, which they've been hit and miss. I've been assuming Rachel Weisz is Taskmaster this entire time. This trailer kind of gave me pause, so I'm not entirely sure. But
That's
I mean,
interesting.
the law of conservation of characters. It's got to be someone who we've already seen in the trailer, or
Because
who we
of
know is
the-
casting this, because it's a masked character.
Yeah.
They're not going to introduce some other random, probably. So
But
maybe it's
that's-
Florence Pugh, even. Maybe the
who
whole.
is it in the comic books, or are you aware?
It's just it's a guy. It's just Taskmaster. It's not like a twist or
right,
anything.
but you think?
But the way that the MCU
Feige
uses villains, I'm presuming they're going to do something.
Mandarin on his ass.
And even if it isn't one of the existing characters, I did kind of assume it would be a woman because, this being one of the very few female-led properties, I figured they might do that flip.
Shit, dude, I think you might be onto something there.
I often am.
Steak dinner?
Interesting.
No.
Oh.
This is exactly what steak dinner is designed for. This is
Look, what are we 4 years into this? No one's gotten a steak yet?
Yeah, holy fuck. The steaks cancel each other.
It's happened enough times. I think you might be up, George, if I'm just going off memory in terms of the steaks.
We have gone so long here that I still haven't gotten a steak, and I'm a vegetarian now. So you guys are going to have to figure something else out.
I'm not going to get into this.
Anyway, next up, Vin Diesel, of all people, has let slip that the Guardians of the Galaxy will appear in Thor, Love and Thunder. So that makes a lot of sense given where we saw Thor last.
Not surprising.
Yeah, in Endgame. I think that's kind of a fun little continuity thing. I'm assuming it's going to be a little more than a cameo. The same with Doctor Strange in Ragnarok. He had a few minutes in that film, even though it was kind of hyped up.
That kind of disappoints me for much the same reason that I had kind of expressed when they first, kind of announced the slate of properties that they were going to do next. Because I think everyone's initial thought was that the next movie that we'll get in that kind of timeline or in that kind of story area was going to be Guardians of the Galaxy. What's the title?
As Guardians of the Galaxy.
As Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought that was going to be like the next thing, and then past that you could have like Thor 4. Whereas this one, it kind of sounds as though they're just abandoning that idea and going straight to Thor 4.
So you're upset that they're doing something you thought was going to happen based on no evidence, and they went another way.
Well, they kind of set it up for it, right? Like, what's the point of
There was
having
a
that
setup. I'm glad they're not doing that though, because I think those are at that point or this point, I think those are two of their most popular properties. The ones that they're actually going forward with is Guardians and Thor after Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And I think they're both so chock full in their own right that they do not need to be mashed together. Because we're about to discuss this in even more detail, but this next Thor sounds so full already. We've got Natalie Portman coming in as a new Thor. We've got Valkyrie coming back. We've got Thor, who has a lot of shit to work out after Endgame, obviously. And then you've got the Guardians, who were like their time, their story, their continuity, I think, was fucking railroaded by Endgame. They have so much rebuilding to do and so much to fix that the fact that we're not getting their movie before they're appearing in this already is a damn shame. Marvel really fucked that up by firing James Gunn and delaying the movie and rehire him, because they're kind of in tatters right now.
And you also got to take into account Taika Waititi. I want to see Taika Waititi get involved with the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's going to be awesome. Whether it's 3 minutes, whether it's 20 minutes. I think, I've been a little bit iffy on James Gunn coming back, and I'm not really sure where I sit on Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
So, yeah, I don't love it.
But I think there's still mileage there with the right creative personnel. So, good shit on the way. But we got some more news about some villains.
Yeah, so these actors cannot keep their lips sealed. Tessa
Who
Thompson.
was it? Tessa Thompson. Was it on a red carpet premiere or something?
Just talking to ET, I think.
Okay. Just on the street.
Yeah, she let slip that Christian Bale is, in fact, joining the film, as we heard rumored, and he'll be playing the villain.
How good.
So that's a great get.
I can't wait.
What a very talented actor, and depending on what direction they go with it, he's so talented comedically, and I think he could do great things with Taika Waititi.
Do you think he's going to change his physique?
I think he's done. I've heard he's done with that.
Yeah, but is he?
It's a lot of effort.
It's
I wouldn't be
part of
surprised.
him. It's part of his DNA.
I'd heard an anecdote just today, apparently, that he talked to Gary Oldman, I think, who did Winston Churchill in that movie a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, geez, how'd you get into that shape?" And he's like, "It was a fat suit." And he was like, "Oh, fuck, you can just do that." Right.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing with
Christian.
I don't think he can keep doing that. I think the toll it takes on your body's too much. Now, I suppose you guys don't have any thoughts on who he might be playing. No offense.
No idea.
But
Thor?
Thor. He's playing another new Thor. He's playing Frog Thor. That's an actual thing. Look it up.
Isn't there a horse Thor as well?
There's Beta Ray Bill, who is an alien. So he was Thor for a while. He has a weird kind of horse head.
Sweet.
He's definitely appearing in this movie. So that could be Christian Bale. So yes, well done.
And they've been saying
Because
for years. Because he was in a
fan
Guardians of the
favorite. There was a
Galaxy,
statue
Yeah.
in
Guardians 1, right?
No, in
There was a
Thor
statue in
3.
Thor Ragnarok.
That's the only. All right, let's be clear. That's the only reason I know about that character, and because you specifically pointed him out to me.
Right.
That's my only.
So it was
You
my
make him a better
suggestion.
person.
Really.
Yeah. So ipso facto,
But my pick is a character I actually don't know all that much about, called Gore the God Butcher, Gorr. Look him up.
Yeah,
'cause
I'm doing that right
he
now.
He is the star of some of the most striking mainstream comic book art I've seen in years. I don't know what the Thor run is exactly, this kind of God Butcher storyline, but he's a wicked looking character. He's kind of got a Voldemort style to him, and I think
Yeah.
Christian Bale could embody that
No,
perfectly.
Yeah, he looks great.
Yeah, isn't that art like gorgeous?
oh my
Wow.
goodness.
Yeah, but that is a really kind of serious storyline, and the way that Taika Waititi handled Thor 3, I was not super happy with in some aspects, because that was on paper Ragnarok was on paper as a very dramatic event, whereas this looks like another kind of like 80s wacky thing. So at this point I don't even know what I want from a Thor movie, but all the ingredients are very exciting.
100%.
Yeah.
Cannot wait for this one.
We'll see what they
Is that
do.
this year?
Thor, no, the end of this year is Eternals.
Eternals.
Thor
We
must
only
be
have
one of the ones
two.
next year. Yeah, because Guardians got delayed. That was meant to be this year.
Oh, but we got a lot of Disney Plus.
So they really slowed their roll there.
Yeah.
Um,
Disney Plus is really filling it up
Yeah, for sure.
through the middle.
Have you cancelled it yet,
Are
Josh?
those being?
Yeah, I did. I cancelled it.
Did you watch the next?
Foxtel Go.
Did you watch the next Clone Wars?
Yeah, you said you were going to do that.
No. But I've still got enough time. It's the cycles on the 26th or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then see ya.
I would be really fascinated to know what the attrition rate for Disney Plus has been over the last 2 months, because they were very keen on publishing how quickly they went up. Obviously there's some.
I think they have a big churn rate
Yeah.
with their subscribers.
I
I'm
think
sure there would be, and I'm sure there'd also still be a lot of people who, like us, even just let it
about
hang
it.
on in the background because
Something, a bit of a tangent, but I was watching a round table with a bunch of the producers of the major studios like Paramount and Netflix and Amazon and all that kind of stuff. And the head of Amazon or the head of Netflix was asked a pretty direct question about why they don't release stats. And if you want the full answer, like check, I think it's the Hollywood Reporter does a round table with them. But one of the interesting things is that they said that they're going to start releasing more and more stats. And I am really fascinated to find out or to kind of delve into that because I've always thought that box office viewership box office like dollar amounts is such a bad measure of how popular a movie is.
Netflix is going to be worse though. It's going to be their bullshit cherry picks. Do you remember their like 10 most watched things last year or something? It's like if you've watched 2 minutes of it, it goes on to that.
But I find that almost
list.
better because if you're comparing a movie now to a movie like 5 years ago, like for like, the movie theater, like the amount of distribution is different. The price of a ticket is different. Like whether it's 3D versus like I've always
and records don't take inflation into account
exactly
at all,
right,
which
and
it makes it all completely kind of pointless.
Yeah, and one of my most hated statistics that's always quoted is about how Gone with the Wind is if you account for inflation is so much more popular than any of these movies nowadays. I'm like, but that's like such a small fraction of what made it popular. Like what 3 movies come out that year?
Well, it was in cinemas for like 4 years.
Sorry?
It was in cinemas for like 4
yeah,
years.
Exactly. Like it's that if you took that movie and you release it now, like there's just no kind of comparison on that. So I like the idea of just saying like kind of looking at something that is statistic heavy on something more than just dollar amount on actual viewership. And, down the line, if they start releasing not only just how many people quote unquote viewed this, but also like what was their retention rate on this movie? What was their,
Did they say they were going to get that deep into it?
I don't know if they're going to get that deep.
Because I feel like it's just going to be their usual kind of propaganda.
But he has said that they've started to release a little bit, but they will start to release more and more as time goes on. And I watched it. It had to have been at least a week ago, so I can't remember the specifics around why they didn't release. Why they traditionally didn't release it. It was something that I hadn't thought about. I was just like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But because of the changing environment, because of the changing industry, they're going to start releasing more and more. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point you're able to get those kind of statistics. I don't know whether it would be open to the public, but I imagine they'd release it.
So powerful for Netflix.
Sorry?
So powerful for Netflix.
I mean, yeah, exactly, right? Like the
analytics they can pull and the insights they can pull is insane. I watched director Guy Ritchie on Joe Rogan this week. I think it was from 2 years ago or something. Really great podcast. Talks about suits a lot, empowerment of the suit. But he has some interesting thoughts in this exact area and was commenting about how that metric of box office is they reference Fast and the Furious. It's like everyone's just talking about box office haul. What about the merits of the film itself?
Okay.
Is it Guy Ritchie saying this?
Yeah.
Soon after he released King Arthur? Was that?
No, but
money doesn't matter.
It gave me a lot of respect for the guy. So I
That
just
is
blank
funny.
out King Arthur and everything's fine.
The man who directed the biggest box office bomb of all time.
Yeah.